With 9 wins and 4 draws from his first 13 games in charge of Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel has the longest unbeaten record of any new Chelsea boss. And trust me, there have been a lot of them. That run has included victories at home to Everton and away at both Tottenham and Liverpool, in addition to a comfortable 3-0 win, on aggregate, against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League knockout stages. By the time this video comes out, Chelsea will also have faced Sheffield United in the FA Cup, and Tuchel will either have booked his place in his first semi-final with the Blues, or have suffered his first defeat in charge of the club in rather humiliating circumstances. You all know which by now, future Earth inhabitants. Anyhow, we're starting to get a good idea of the way in which Thomas Tuchel likes his teams to play, and with the talent at his disposal at Stamford Bridge, I think he inherited a bit of a dream job, to be honest. But one thing we're yet to see from the German in West London is any transfer business, with the Blues not having made any late January arrivals following his appointment. As part of our growing series looking at an array of managers' best and worst signings, today is the turn of the current Chelsea boss, who has previously managed Augsburg's reserve side, Mainz, Borussia Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain. Tuchel is only 47, so he hasn't yet signed the vast array of talent that, say, Carlo Ancelotti or Jurgen Klopp have done, but he does already have some gems hidden among his portfolio, so let's check them out. Here are my views on Thomas Tuchel's 7 best signings. Loris Karius. Alright, don't laugh. Loris Karius may have a reputation in England that is only marginally more enviable than Fred West or Jimmy Savile, but he was actually a very astute signing by Thomas Tuchel. Karius joined the Manchester City Academy at the age of 16, but after 2 years in England, the Citizens let him join Mainz's reserve team on loan. Tuchel cast his eye over his compatriot and decided that he liked what he saw, especially since Mainz were able to sign the youngster on a permanent basis, completely free of charge. It took Karius a couple of years, until he turned 20, for him to really establish himself as Mainz's undisputed number 1. Though that is still extremely young in goalkeeping terms, especially in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. In fact, at the age of only 19 years and 5 months, Karius had become the Bundesliga's youngest goalkeeper of all time. It was during Tuchel's final season at Mainz that Karius nailed down a starting berth, but it was during the following 2 campaigns, without Tuchel, that he really began to turn heads. In his final season at Mainz, still aged only 22, Karius was an authoritative and commanding presence within his 6-yard box, and he pulled off a string of outstanding saves. And ever present in the Bundesliga, he was voted as the 2nd best goalkeeper in the league that season, behind only Manuel Neuer. That prompted interest from another former Mainz star, Jurgen Klopp, who took Karius to Liverpool for more than £5 million. What followed, quite frankly, is irrelevant in terms of how good of a signing Loris Karius was for Thomas Tuchel and for Mainz, where he arrived for nothing, had 2.5 outstanding seasons, and pocketed the club £5 million. Kylian Navas. Our 2nd successive goalkeeper, though I am sorry to say our last, I've always been a big fan of Kylian Navas, and I've seen nothing to change my mind from the Costa Rican at PSG in the autumn of his career. In stark contrast to Karius, it took Navas a long time to gain any genuine recognition, at least outside of Costa Rica. He didn't start playing regular top-flight football outside of Central America until he was 26, doing so with Levante in the 2013-14 season. His fine form, once he got that opportunity, saw him win the La Liga Goalkeeper of the Year award, and he was immediately snapped up by Real Madrid for just €10 million. Throughout his time in Madrid, Navas was always viewed as somehow being a weakling within a world-class team, but I don't think his performances ever reflected those sentiments. He made very few mistakes and routinely pulled off some remarkable saves. Nonetheless, when Thibaut Courtois came in, Navas' fate was sealed. Tuchel struck whilst the iron was still hot, snapping Navas up for just €15 million, a bargain for a keeper of his calibre, even at the wrong side of 30. So far, the Parisians have got exactly what they paid for during Navas' almost 2 seasons at the club, and for the price that they paid, I think he was a very solid piece of business. Mitchell Becker. Poached by Thomas Tuchel at PSG from Ajax in 2019, Mitchell Becker had made just 2 first-team appearances for Ajax, and not in the Eredivisie, when PSG lured him to Paris on a free transfer. A big 6-foot 1-inch left-back, who can also deputise at centre-back, Becker looks like a really solid recruit, given that he didn't cost the club a penny. Evidently a fiery character, Becker stormed out of PSG training at the start of this month after being left out of Maurizio Pochettino's side for a league game against Dijon. Following a cooling-off period, Becker reportedly apologised to the club's coaching staff, and the fact that he just penned a contract extension in the French capital suggests that all is now well. Becker has made 29 appearances for PSG so far this season, still aged only 20, jostling with Levan Kazawa for that starting berth at left-back, and currently holding his own. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's the second coming of Giacinto Facchetti, but on a free transfer, to sign someone who is playing regular first-team football at 20 and made the 20-man shortlist for the 2020 Golden Boy Award, that is a fine piece of business by anyone's standards. Raphael Guerrero. From consecutive goalkeepers to consecutive left-backs, Thomas Tuchel was a defender himself, though he had a fairly unremarkable career and was forced to retire through injury at 25, and he appears to have an eye for defenders in management. Tuchel was a centre-back by trade, whilst Guerrero is a very attack-minded left-back, and under Tuchel, the Portuguese international actually played predominantly in midfield. Capped 45 times by Portugal to date, aged 27, Guerrero was actually born in France to a French mother and a Portuguese father. All of his footballing education came in France, though Guerrero grew up supporting Benfica and dreamed of playing for either them or Real Madrid. Tuchel was the first man to take Guerrero out of France, along with the help of all of Dortmund's other staff, who were involved in recruitment of course, signing the fullback from Lorient for €12 million in the summer of 2016. He has since made 150 appearances for the German Giants, where, as I say, he went from often playing in midfield under Tuchel to now starring in his preferred role as a really adventurous fullback. A quick and tireless runner with excellent technique and tremendous crossing ability, Guerrero has scored 7 goals and made 9 assists for club and country so far this season, and Dortmund would want a lot more than €12 million for him now. Shinji Okazaki. A footballer who will be very familiar to viewers in England, Shinji Okazaki played a vital but all too often overlooked role in Leicester City's unfathomable 2015-16 Premier League title win, during what was actually his first season in English football. Okazaki first shot to fame in Japan in 2009, aged 23, when he scored 15 goals in just 16 games for Japan within the space of just 12 months. He joined Stuttgart in January 2011, where he spent 2.5 seasons, scoring just 13 goals in 85 games. He only managed a single goal in his final Bundesliga campaign at Stuttgart, despite making 25 league appearances, so Mainz were able to take him off their hands for around €1.5 million. It proved to be an inspired signing, and in his first and only season playing under Thomas Tuchel, Okazaki scored 15 goals in 31 Bundesliga appearances. A tireless runner and a beloved teammate, Okazaki almost matched that tally without Thomas Tuchel the following season, before being snapped up by Leicester. The Foxes paid somewhere between £7 to £10 million for Okazaki, possibly subject to add-ons, representing significant profit for one of the Bundesliga's least affluent clubs. We all know what the current Huesca man went on to achieve in the East Midlands, but the crucial facts in terms of this video are that Thomas Tuchel signed him for around €1.5 million, he scored 29 goals in 70 games for Mainz, and he was sold for roughly €8.5 million profit. Kylian Mbappe. Without doubt the highest profile signing Thomas Tuchel has ever made, and the best player he has ever signed, Kylian Mbappe is a true force of nature. He made his Monaco debut as a 16-year-old, and by 17, he was already ripping it up in the Champions League. At 18, he was nominated for the Ballon d'Or, and by 19, he played a pivotal role in France winning only their second World Cup in Russia. It was whilst Mbappe was 18 that he first signed for Paris Saint-Germain, initially on loan from Monaco with a view to a permanent. It might seem a bit dodgy that deal was actually completed under Unai Emery before Thomas Tuchel took charge at the Parc des Princes, but it was under Tuchel that Mbappe officially signed for PSG on a permanent basis, and therefore he is the man who technically oversaw his arrival for a potential €180 million, subject to add-ons. Some of you will think he really shouldn't count, but I had to come up with a one-size-fits-all criteria for this series, and this is the most fail-safe and consistent one. It is only the size of Mbappe's transfer fee, €145 million up front, plus €35 million in future add-ons, that prevents him from taking top spot, since it is a pretty astronomical sum of money. That fee makes Mbappe the second most expensive footballer of all time, though he is probably the most valuable player in world football right now. Since signing for PSG on a permanent basis, Mbappe has scored 98 goals in 115 games. He received 3 successive Ballon d'Or nominations before the award was cancelled in 2020, and he has been the league on top scorer in each of the last 2 seasons. Clearly, Mbappe is a bona fide world-class talent, still aged only 22, but he only actually has 1 year left on his current PSG contract. And if Mauricio Pochettino's side were to lose him for nothing, he would very quickly go from being a superb signing to a calamitous one, given the fee that PSG paid. Ousmane Dembele. In top spot, simply because the fact that he was, and will always be, a remarkable signing is beyond any doubt, unlike in the case of Mbappe, Thomas Tuchel's signing of Ousmane Dembele must rank among the finest signings of the last decade. Tuchel signed Dembele during his time at Borussia Dortmund in 2016 off the back of his excellent breakout campaign in Ligue 1 with Rennes. The fee that Dortmund paid, of around €15 million, looked like a bargain for one of the most talented teenagers on the planet at the time, and so it proved. Only 18 at the time, Dembele would last just a single season at the Westfalenstadion before attracting external attention. Quick, two-footed, intelligent and efficient, Dembele looked like the complete package. And it was Neymar's world record-breaking move to Tuchel's future club PSG that paved the way for Dembele's speedy Dortmund departure. Flush with cash, FC Barcelona agreed a fee of €105 million up front, plus a potential €40 million in future add-ons for the Frenchman. Dembele has since had a nightmare time with injuries at the Camp Nou, though he remains a fantastic player and he's starting to put together a bit of form again now. From Dortmund and Tuchel's perspective, they paid €15 million for Dembele, he was brilliant for a season, and then they sold him for a potential €145 million. Admittedly, €20 million of that went to Rennes as part of their sell-on fee, but that hardly takes the gloss off things. To make matters even more impressive for Dortmund, they then spent just £8 million to sign Jadon Sancho as his replacement, though that was after Thomas Tuchel had departed for PSG, hence why he doesn't feature. Before I leave you, a quick word for Idrissa Gana Gueye, who very nearly featured, but just missed out given the size of his transfer fee and his age, despite having been excellent for Paris Saint-Germain. Other honourable mentions go to Christian Fuchs and Julian Baumgartlinger. Thank you all as ever for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, both really help with the algorithm on YouTube, and make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on for HITC Sevens. You can also find me on Twitter or Instagram by the username @HITC Sevens on both platforms, should you wish to do so.